Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
What is in Uzalo's Monsuza and Smangel's funeral pamphlet? The day draws ever closer. Uzalo's beloved characters, Monsuza, Kumalo, and Smangel, ZIMBABWE, who were both recently killed, will soon get their on-screen send-off, and it will surely be a day to remember. Drum went behind the scenes and got a sneak peek at the funeral pamphlet for the two characters. The program includes a collection of hymns for Monsuza, No Tears in Heaven, Lord of All Being, and Day is Past and Gone. The day is past and gone, the evening shades appear. Oh, may we all remember well, the night of death draws near. The last hymn is read as both Smangel and Monsuza are laid to rest. Fans can catch the funeral episode on 16 February on ZIMBABWE. No hard feelings against Mugabe. President Emerson Mnangagwa yesterday said he had no hard feelings against former President Robert Mugabe, as he believes most decisions he took during his last days in power were not of his own making but instead influenced by G40 criminals who took advantage of his advanced age. Mnangagwa claimed that he was in constant touch with the former leader. The new president made the revelations during a town hall meeting with youths in Harare. The dialogue was organized by Global Shapers Community, a network of young people driving dialogue, action and change. Asked by interviewer Vimbai KGs about his relationship with Mugabe, President Mnangagwa said, "I am here because for the last 54 years he was holding my hand. To me he is my father, mentor, icon, revolutionary leader, but time comes when he gets influenced because, I believe, of age." Somebody described people who surrounded him as criminals. So, I do not believe that some of the actions made at the 11th hour were genuinely his own. President Mnangagwa said to vindicate that criminals had circled Mugabe. The former leader seemed not to recall that he had fired him as vice president. He said Mugabe pleaded with him to return direct to State House when he told him that he had fled to South Africa fearing for his life. "I realized that things were not what I used to know," President Mnangagwa said. "As a result of that, I have no ill feelings at all towards former President Mugabe. I chat with him." President Mnangagwa said instead of getting worried, he felt pity for those who attacked him during the presidential youth interface rallies. "Of the 9 rallies, we began in Mashonaland East," he said, responding to how he felt during the rallies. "As we went on, it became slightly harder, slightly troublesome, and as we went on it became very worrying. I really thought that those who were making accusations on me or some of my colleagues like George Tremba were ignorant of who I was and who Tremba was. They also had a perception created outside our actual persons and they misunderstood us. If a person misunderstands, you pity him. You do not get worried. So, I was not worried, because I was misunderstood." Mnangagwa said he had since put behind the past and was focusing on unity and development. "In my inauguration speech, I spoke about reconciliation," he said. "I spoke about bygones being bygones, meaning there is nothing we can do about the past. Those things have happened. The acts of omission and commission which happened in the past, yes. In some areas we get to learn lessons from what has happened, but let us put that behind us because we will not live it again. My message as we go forward is let us preach love, love, unity, unity always." Mnangagwa added, "We are all Zimbabweans, let us accept each other. I believe that every single Zimbabwean, young or old, rich or poor, tall or short, blind or with eyesight has a role to play and is an important person to bring our nation forward. My appeal is let us look into the future, that is the only space we can improve." The dialogue meeting was attended by Vice Presidents Constantino Chiwenga and Kembo Mohadi, Cabinet Ministers, Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet. Police in Zimbabwe arrest American citizen over anti-Mugabe tweet. In a tweet, the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, ZLHR, group said Mzo Donovan, the manager of Magamba TV, an online-based satirical video outlet, was the first person to be arrested on such grounds since the cyber ministry was formed. Police arrested Mzo Donovan during a morning raid at her home in Harare, seizing electronic devices, including computers and a phone. Police is yet to charge her, but they alleged that tweets emanating from her IT address are insulting to the president, referring to some tweets sent from Mzo Donovan's account which referred to a goblin, whose stepson recently bought a Rolls-Royce, but said that Mr. Mugabe was not mentioned. Zimbabwe does not yet have a cybercrime law, so if O'Donovan is charged, it is likely to be under the presidential Fake article that Bushiri arrested in U.S. for smuggling cocaine. False article published that Malawian prophet Shepherd Bushiri has been arrested in JFK Airport in New York on suspicion of drug trafficking and possession. The false news claimed that according to Fox News, 10 kilograms of cocaine was reportedly found on the baggage carousel on the pastor's flight from Johannesburg to New York. The bag containing the cocaine, which reportedly costs $1.5 million in street market value, was checked in from Johannesburg and is identical to a bag carried by the prophet. Bushiri, who is known for his extravagant lifestyle, has reportedly been released on $100,000 bail, and while his fingerprints were not found on the cocaine, immediate forensic tests have proved his connection. RIP former Botswana leader Lucas Manyane Mangope dies. Former Botswana leader Lucas Manyane Mangope has died, it emerged on Thursday. This is according to South African Broadcasting Corporation, SABC, which broke the news on Thursday night. Mangope was the president of Botswana, one of the apartheid-era homelands or Bantustans to which black South Africans were confined. He was also the former leader of United Christian Democratic Party, UCDP, a party he also founded. It remains unclear what the cause of death is at this stage. Tributes began pouring in on social media following news of the former leader's death. Many users took to Twitter to remember Mangope and passed their condolences to his family and friends. Singer Buziziwa pregnant with Oskido's triplets. Meet singer Buziziwa's baby daddy, Bye. The singer announced close to end of 2017 that was expecting her first children's. She has since given birth a few days ago. Despite being open and sharing her pregnancy news with fans, Buziziwa had kept the identity of the father's child to herself, until now. The singer tagged the baby daddy in one of the baby photos on Instagram. Sibong Almani, who accidentally received R14. 1 meter apply for NSFAS in 2018. Sibong Almani, who accidentally received 14.1 million from NSFAS to her student account and went on a wild spending spree, now apply for student funding at NSFAS. Sibong Al, now a third-year accountancy student at WSU, situated in the Eastern Cape, who mistakenly received R14. 1 meter in June 2017 from the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS, instead of the monthly or 1,400 she was entitled to for meals and books. Sibong Almani is awaiting approval from NSFAS, and friend close to her revealed to Mzansi Stories that Sibong Al has been panicking so hard because she doesn't believe NSFAS will be able to assist her to finish her third level at varsity. When we tried to call Sibong Almani for more details, her phone took us straight to voicemail. Prophet Shepherd Bushiri arrested in U.S. for smuggling cocaine. Malaysian Prophet Shepherd Bushiri has been arrested in JFK Airport in New York on suspicion of drug trafficking and possession. According to Fox News, 10 kilograms of cocaine was reportedly found on the baggage carousel on the pastor's flight from Johannesburg to New York. The bag containing the cocaine, which reportedly costs $1.5 million in street market value, was checked in from Johannesburg and is identical to a bag carried by the prophet. Bushiri, who is known for his extravagant lifestyle, has reportedly been released on $100,000 bail, and while his fingerprints were not found on the cocaine, immediate forensic tests have proved his connection. Former Homeland leader Lucas Mangope dies. The 94-year-old Mangope formed and led the United Christian Democratic Party, UCDP, based in the Northwest Province, after he was ousted from his post as head of the former Botswana, one of many independent black homelands which only apartheid South Africa recognized, in 1994. The homeland now forms part of the Northwest. He had been accused of using police brutality to suppress protest. In 1988 he was reinstated by the apartheid government, following a failed coup led by Rocky Mobane, leader of the People's Progressive Party, PPP. In 1993, ahead of the first democratic elections a year later, Mangope insisted Botswana would remain independent of the new and integrated South Africa and that he would not allow the elections to take place in his country, News 24 previously reported. He was removed from office by Foreign Minister Pikboda and Transitional Executive Council, TEC, member Mac Maharaj in March, 1994. Mugabe-aligned police commissioners relieved of duties. Several senior police officers who were allegedly aligned to former President Robert Mugabe have been reportedly relieved of their duties. Yet to be confirmed reports say the prominent figures in the Mugabe-led police administration under the guidance of former Commissioner General Augustine Chiri have been relieved of the duties. Among the axed officers are Deputy Commissioner Generals Sabanda, Madabiri and Shambar, Commissioners Bangu, Ntbel, Tanya Naiwa, Senior Assistant Commissioners Munyanga, Gumum, Chanjita, Masakasa, Lilo, May Nzanais, Shekanayuka, Mikadza and their effective mouthpiece Senior Assistant Commissioner Charity Tramba. The ZRP had become one of the most disliked and distrusted organizations in Zimbabwe under the tenure of long-serving former Commissioner General Augustine Chiri. In the aftermath of Operation Restore Legacy, the ZRP had to conduct joint patrols with members of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces as its officers were accused of corruption and extorting motorists through numerous roadblocks. More information is yet to follow on the changes taking place in the transformation of Zimbabwean police from force to service. A letter of retirement which was given to one of the commissioners and signed by Acting Commissioner General Goodwin Matanga reads, January 17, 2018. Commissioner_retirement from the Zimbabwe Republic Police in terms of Section 22(3) of the Police Act, Chapter 1110. This letter serves to advise you of your retirement from the Zimbabwe Republic Police in terms of Section 22 subsection 3 of the Police Act, Chapter 11 to 101, effective from midnight on the 19 inches of January 2018. You will be paid 3 months' salary in lieu of 3 months' notice of termination of service. The Acting Commissioner General of Police avails himself this opportunity to sincerely thank you for having diligently served the organization and the people of Zimbabwe. Wishing you and your family a pleasant retirement. Mathanga, Acting Commissioner General of Police. Latest on Wicknell Chiveo's controversial ZASA tender saga. The Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Mines and Energy is putting pressure on government to implement the moribund Gananda solar energy project with haste, throwing the spotlight on flamboyant businessman Wicknell Chiveo once more. Chiveo was awarded a $200 million tender to roll out the project, which will feed into the national grid to ease the country's electricity woes. After consummating the power deal in October 2015, no meaningful progress has been achieved to bring the project to fruition. In fact, the project, which is expected to generate 100 megawatts of electricity, has been mired in controversy, amid accusations of underhand dealings between bureaucrats in former President Robert Mugabe's government and the burly businessman. Chiveo has consistently denied any wrongdoing. In a report presented in Parliament on Monday, the Portfolio Committee said the work that has been done on the energy project does not tally with the amount paid to the contractor. The committee is concerned to know that the work that has been done and the amount paid to the contractor does not tally, reads part of the report. To win back the people's confidence, it is recommended that the implementation of the project moves with speed so that tangible results are seen, instead of continued reports that the project is still at the preparation stage of the project cycle. The committee further recommended that the Procurement Regulatory Authority Board should move with speed in coming up with a framework that will ensure that in future controversies that surround the Gwanda solar project do not occur again, such as the payment made in the absence of a performance bond. Chiveo has been staring down the barrel over the power deals which he signed with ZASA Holdings and its subsidiary, the Zimbabwe Power Company, ZPC. These deals have come under scrutiny after Intertrek apparently failed to deliver on them. ZPC senior management were recently arrested for advancing $5 million to Chiveo for this project's pre-commencement works, despite the fact that the businessman had not providing a performance guarantee as required by law. The performance guarantee acts as financial security and is supposed to be presented by the contractor before the commencement of works. It insulates the client in the event that the contractor fails to fulfill obligations set out in the contract. Apart from the Gananda project, Chiveo was also awarded a further $73 million for the refurbishment of the Harare Power Station, $163 million for the restoration of the Munyati Power Station, and $248 million for the Gerzi Power Project. An elite investigating unit, the National Economic Conduct Inspectorate, NESI, is currently digging into Chiveo's deals. NESI recently ordered him to submit his bank statements, contract documents and cash books as part of widening investigations into the ZASA deals. Chiveo's project has attracted a lot of attention, including from Member of Parliament. The situation was worsened by the media houses which provided conflicting statements regarding the project starters, noted the Portfolio Committee on Mines and Energy. Some of the reports have cited irregularities in the manner in which the tender was awarded and the payment of the initial $5 million paid to the contractor, that is Intertrek. President Mugabe may name Grace as his successor. In a shocking development to President Robert Mugabe's succession political plate tectonics, the veteran non-agenarian is reportedly set to name his wife, First Lady Grace, as his successor sometime next year, as the country descends into a Mugabe dynasty, Spotlight Zimbabwe reported. The publication claims to have gathered this information from some senior ruling party officials. The hard-to-swallow disclosures come at a time when the ruling ZANU-PF succession wars are now at a zenith, following Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa's poisoning scare last week, which saw his health condition virtually becoming an emergency military operation, after he was flown to South Africa for urgent treatment and examination from Manyame Air Base. Harare was plunged into disbelief and panic mode as many feared for Mnangagwa's life, with his top ally, Zimbabwe Defense Forces, ZDF, Commander, General Constantino Chiwenga, making the swift intervention to have Mnangagwa rushed to Johannesburg. As first revealed by Spotlight Zimbabwe last year in March, it is however more likely for Mnangagwa to become the next president, while Chiwenga is set to become vice president of Zimbabwe, thus becoming the first highest-ranking military chief in the country's history to assume the second most powerful office in the land, after his predecessor, the late General Vitalis Zvinavash, came within a whisker of taking up the same office in 2004 following the death of VP Simon Nusenda, in a thrilling grand political plan that has been brewing since 2008, reportedly mooted and involving former Ethiopian leader, Mengistu Haile Mariam, now exiled in Zimbabwe after receiving asylum in 1991, who is said to be the brainchild of the scheme, as a hired national security consultant of the military. Mugabe, the party officials say, intends to hand over the reins of power to Grace soon after securing a fresh 5-year term, if he wins the watershed 2018 presidential elections, as the ZANU-PF strongman is said to be convinced that the military putsch is still possible, and could be executed in a bloodless manner. Mugabe came out, with his guns blazing against the military last month, accusing them of interfering in politics and that their involvement was tantamount to a coup. The military has no right, to be interfering with the political processes, Mugabe told a meeting of his party's Women's League. ZIMBABWE Bantu requests to meet Mugabe. Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe has an unlikely admirer in ZIMBABWE Bantu, who before arrival in the country, was scared of being deported. Zimbabwe said before she made the trip to Zimbabwe some fans warn her to behave because that country's president is a strict man. They were telling me that Mugabe does not allow nonsense. And as a result I would not be allowed into Zimbabwe because I am too sexy. Some feel I will be half naked and that he, Mugabe, knows that I don't wear panties, she told local journalists. Having arrived with nothing but a celebrity welcome at the Joshua Mkabukumbo airport, Zimbabwe felt at home. I would love to meet Mugabe if given a chance, she said. A local socialite paid $2,500 or $32,500, to secure the VIP booth at Club Connect where he and his entourage had exclusive access to Zimbabwe. I don't live a fake life. This is me, I am not expensive. I am a cozy person. I love you all. God gave me this body and I am using it, she said. The cheer the entertainer became the talk of town for her skimpy outfits as an employee at Iodini Lounge in Umlazi. She raised eyebrows at the Durban July for wearing a revealing dress but said she had little worry over what people thought of her and her love for wearing no underscore wear. What happened the last time listeriosis broke out in South Africa? South Africa is in the fearful grip of the largest ever listeriosis outbreak in recorded human history. The disease has so far claimed 67 lives from 748 reported cases since the back end of last year. The infection is contracted through the bacterial Listeria, which can be found in vegetables as well as meat and dairy products. It thrives in warm, wet conditions and permeates the soil on farmland. Both animals and crops can be carriers of listeriosis, which finds its way to humans when we consume said products. To find out how you can avoid the illness, please read the Listeriosis Safety Guide we put together earlier this month. The outbreak in Mzansi has health officials and ordinary citizens on high alert, just as it did previously. When was the last time listeriosis was found in South Africa? There were 7 cases reported between January 2015, September 2015. All of the cases were non-fatal, and reported at a tertiary hospital in the Western Cape. When was South Africa's last outbreak of listeriosis? When the disease begins to affect people outside of a certain environment, it becomes known as an outbreak. The last listeriosis outbreak to hit South Africa was more than 40 years ago. The infection took hold of 14 people from in and around Johannesburg. A 48-year-old Sowetan male was the first to catch the disease on August 3, 1977. Then, 13 more cases were recorded over the next 9 months. A 28-year-old male was the last person to catch listeriosis on April 15, 1978. How deadly was the last listeriosis outbreak? Of the 14 patients infected, 6 died. 4 of those were newborn babies. The disease strikes pregnant mothers and neonatal infants particularly hard. 2 males were confirmed as the other victims. This meant the mortality rate was 43%. With the 2017-18 outbreak, the current mortality rate is under 9%. The listeria epidemic reported in the 1970s was the first of its kind in this country. Bona Mugabe's husband Simba Chikor in hot soup as corruption investigations get serious. The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZAC, is digging into the goings-on at Air Zimbabwe, AirZim, with its investigators keen on unraveling the nexus between former President Robert Mugabe's son-in-law and Zimbabwe Airways. The Daily News can report that the corruption watchdog is currently seized with matters relating to AirZim and Zimbabwe Airways, and is convinced that Simba Chikor, Mugabe's son-in-law, may assist in laying the facts bare because he was previously involved with both. ZAC Commissioner in charge of investigations Goodson Guni confirmed that Chikor, who was married to Mugabe's only daughter, Bona, was under the radar. We are investigating what happened at Air Zimbabwe, and we will give you more details when we are done with the investigations before end of week, he said. The investigations, according to insiders at ZAC, could extend to government officials who either facilitated the Zimbabwe Airways deal or had fiduciary responsibility over AirZim during the period when things fell apart at the parastatal. Zimbabwe Airways is said to be privately owned, although its ownership structure has remained a closely guarded secret as there are no records at the company registry of those behind it. It was expected to take to the skies in November last year, but its plans ran into serious complications following the change of guard at Manhumutapa, a building engineered by the military last November. Highly placed sources at ZAC told the Daily News that Transport Minister Joram Gumbo may not escape the investigations since he worked closely with Chikor before Mugabe's dramatic fall. Gumbo and Chikor had made several trips to Malaysia where Zimbabwe Airways acquired 4 second-hand Boeing 777 planes at an estimated combined cost of about $1 billion. This was after Malaysia Airlines, which has a fleet size in excess of 70 aircraft, revealed that it was disposing a fleet of Boeing 777s because it believed they were cursed after 2 of its planes, MH370 and MH317, were involved in disasters that cost lives. While Nguni refused to be drawn into whether Gumbo would be investigated, he insisted that ZAC will carry out its mandate without fear or favor. The development comes amid rumors that the architects behind Zimbabwe Airways wanted to sink the debt-ridden AirZim, which, for many years, had benefited from government's protectionist policies. AirZim's old fleet comprises two Boeing 767s, three 737s, three MA-60s and two Airbus A320s. Only 3 of these are flying, one Boeing 767, one 737 and an MA-60. The parastatal, which is said to be losing up to $3 million a month, is saddled with a $300 million declared debt. It has, over the past 3 decades, struggled to shake off claims of corruption and ineptitude, which has led to the dismissals of several of its boards and senior managers. When Chikor resigned from AirZim last year after having been appointed to the airline in September 2016, rumor had it that he had done so to concentrate on Zimbabwe Airways and avoid potential conflict of interest. During his time at the national flag carrier, he was the parastatal's chief operating officer. Despite having a chief executive officer above him, Chikor used to call the shots at AirZim, resulting in strained relationships between him and his boss, Ripton Muzenda. The tiff could have contributed to Muzenda's departure from AirZim under unclear circumstances. Contacted for comment yesterday, Gumbo was evasive on the perilous state of affairs at AirZim and the relationship with Zimbabwe Airways. "I will issue a statement," said the transport minister. Since President Emmerson Mnangagwa assumed office on November 24 last year, several former government officials, mostly from the dismantled Generation 40 faction, have been hauled before the courts on corruption charges. None among the current batch of ministers and those who were in the victorious Team Lacoste faction have been charged. Nguni said while ZAC's hands were previously tied during Mugabe's reign, the anti-graft body was now working without interference under the new dispensation, which has declared zero tolerance to corruption. It is part of the 100 Days program that has been initiated by the president, and we are investigating more people. We cannot say who exactly we are investigating, but we are doing our jobs in terms of the Constitution, said Nguni. "I can tell you though that there are more cases that we will follow because we are fulfilling our mandate. This time, there is no interference from government, as opposed to yesteryear. The executive is actually supporting all our efforts," he said. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West welcome baby via surrogate. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West welcomed their third child together on Monday. Kim made the announcement on her app. "We are incredibly grateful to our surrogate who made our dreams come true with the greatest gift one could give, and to our wonderful doctors and nurses for their special care." The couple used the surrogate as Kim has placenta accreta, a life-threatening condition that caused complications during the birth of her second child, Saint. U.S. celebrity site TMZ reported Kim was in the hospital delivery room when the surrogate gave birth and was the first person to have skin-to-skin contact with the baby. Kanye was also there, but stayed behind a curtain during birth. Only once his daughter was born and Kim had the chance